What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch with SC Weather. Hope you all are having a great start to your Friday. It is Friday. That is a good thing. We have some severe storms to talk about. A line of intense storms is really going to develop and sweep through the deep south areas of the mid-south and is going to be rocking and is going to be moving fast. It's going to come up on people very quickly, and there's going to be damaging winds for sure in areas along a stretch from Arkansas, Louisiana, parts of northeast Texas, definitely Mississippi, and into Alabama. And we're going to talk about the areas I think is going to get hit the hardest. And then we're going to talk a little bit on South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. As here in the next hour or so, next maybe 2 or 3 hours, you're going to start to get some development out there of some strong to severe storms, especially in areas of North Carolina and Virginia. But there's still going to be storm development in South Carolina. So before you get going, like the video. Helps to get my video out there. Subscribe if you haven't. It's a great way to support me, and it's much appreciated. Thank you all for following along. And let's get going here because there's a decent bit to talk about. We're kind of going to run through it a little quickly, but check it out here. You have a moderate risk, and basically this is driven off a damaging wind threat. You're going to have some kind of squall line that develops. It really takes shape somewhere in Arkansas, and it's going to intensify. And overnight is really going to be the more dangerous part of the storm. There's going to be prefrontal storms that develop ahead of the main line that's going to present a isolated tornado threat. But the main thing, they've dropped a huge moderate risk, and notice how it's going from northwest to southeast. It's because that's going to be the movement orientation here of this storm. It's going to be going in that direction from northwest to southeast as a big time. I mean, I don't want to throw out that D word, which is derecho, but this is going to be a big time squall line that really takes shape. I'm talking about Jackson, central Mississippi. It's going to be a very hard hit area. I know I had somebody ask about that area. It's nothing to panic about. You're going to know when these storms are coming. It doesn't matter what time of the night it is. If there's a night that you want to stay up a little bit later, stay up a little bit later at night. It's Friday night. You don't have to work no more. Most people don't. So just stay up a little later, or have your alarm set for a time frame to wake up at. So you can just be aware, because if you live and trailers or so or something like that, damaging winds obviously presents a little bit more of a dangerous situation. So tornado threat. 10% chance from 25 miles of any given location in the 10% area. It's the highest area, and it's pretty much the same area of the moderate risk. I think the biggest risk with the tornado threat is going to be any prefrontal storms that fire up ahead of the line. So you got the line coming, and any activity in here that develops can be supercellular in nature. That has a chance to put some spin to the atmosphere. It really gets going in the warm sector. You got the squall line, which is the cold front. You got a warm sector building ahead of it with high dew points, high cape, and just a lot of energy. So that is a lot of thermodynamics and ingredients for supercells to develop, which is rotating thunderstorms. So that's why we have to watch for the warm sector to develop. And then the squall line moves through, which is the most intense part of this storm system. And then you basically have more of a stable atmosphere behind that. But check it out. You got the wind threat of a 45% chance hatched in this pink area of wind damage in any given location of 25 miles. That is a big deal. Big deal. So take this serious. This is going to be driven by a damaging wind threat. And you got a hail threat. And the reason it's around this area is because a dry line is going to set up. And a big wild card with this system is like the northern Texas area. I'm talking about northeast Texas, where some huge supercells can explode with ingredients of some very high level cape. I'm talking about 5,000 to 6,000 joules per kilogram. Really surface cape building here in this area. And it's going to be a very dangerous situation. As far as hail. Hail is going to be huge in this area. If any storms get going here, and some of the short-range models are really not wanting to fire up anything, but if it's just one storm that fires up in this area near Texas, this is going to produce some big-time hail. Now, I know I haven't mentioned the Carolinas much, but there is a severe, there's a 2% chance hatched in the Virginia-North Carolina border of a tornado at 25 miles of any given location. I think there's a chance for some renegade supercells to develop in Virginia. So I've talked enough on that. So let's check it out. The more broader view. Again, forget to make this larger. I get so excited to get this video going for you guys. And I'm actually watching the girls by myself today while my wife is at work because I had the day off. So I'm trying to run through it pretty quickly. But check it out here. You have a lot going on in the Gulf right now. And storms, hailstorms actually in South Alabama. So anybody watching in that area, this is, there's still going to be continued development in this area. Check out near Birmingham, between Birmingham and Montgomery. This is where you have to watch out for some big time hailstorms, some supercells to develop, because you have the main energy, and this is getting into around 3 or 4 p.m. Basically any given time in this location. I'm really just talking about 2 time zones. So, and notice in my videos I don't really mention exact timing because 20Z, that's around 3 or 4 p.m. in the afternoon, depending on if you're in Central or geez, I'm brain farting, between you're in Central or Eastern Standard Time. So you have around mid-afternoon around Alabama, storms developing, moving into Atlanta. Watch out Atlanta, but check out some action in South Carolina. I'm going to get much closer of a view, so bear with me guys. I'm going to get a much closer of a view of what the HRRR model is showing. And then check out some storm development ahead of this line around starting to get into early evening hours in North Alabama and northern Mississippi. These little cells that develop right here, these can be tornadic storms. These are going to be supercells. They're getting going ahead of the main energy. And then check out what goes on right here as you get going in time. You almost have 2 or 3 waves of lines of storms to get through. Now these two are going to merge. This one's going to kind of dwindle away. But check out with this right here. This is the Squall line that develops and rocks Mississippi and Alabama especially. And then it eventually loses some steam. Now, I didn't talk about this, but this is its own little section right here in the Virginia-North Carolina border. I think here in a couple hours you're going to start to get some storm development here in Virginia. And I know there's some chasers up in that area. But just in the general public, if you get trapped under one of these storms in Virginia, it has a high likelihood to drop down some big hail. Hail is a big threat, but check out all the convection showing up even in the Midlands of South Carolina, where we're only under a general risk of storms, not even a severe criteria of storms, just a general risk of storms. So that's what I'm saying. And check out these storms firing up around the dry line. These can be monsters too. There's so much going on with this system. There's a lot, but this is the main event right here. This squall line that gets going right here and moves on through, and then we'll talk about tomorrow a little bit too, because there's going to be a severe weather threat tomorrow too. But look at the cape that builds ahead of this storm. This is some ridiculous cape that develops along the dry line. So that's what I'm saying. If anything develops right here in Dallas on the dry line, even south of Dallas, just like last night, you had a major supercell that developed and dropped golf ball to almost baseball-sized hail around the Texas A&M area and the Aggie land there, down there near College Station, Texas. That can happen. So you have to watch out. But look at the cape that builds ahead of the main system. Then as you lose daytime heating, you just have a major system that gets going. But cape builds tomorrow into the Carolinas. And this is where some more energy can really develop as you're getting into the Carolinas. So,
can you put this on?
Yeah, baby. Give me 1 second, okay?
Okay.
So, as we're getting going here, alright guys, yeah, sorry, my little girls had to, I had to help them get dressed a little bit, so let's carry on here. So you got some big time cape right here, building again Saturday. So we're going to talk about a storm threat potential for Saturday too. So as we get going to the next kind of area right here, this is potential max wind gusts with this entire system. Notice the little bar down here. If you don't understand what you're reading, there is very small numbers here. I know they're hard to see. But look at this system gets going here. There's like its own separate line of storms that kind of develops briefly in Mississippi. But this is what we have to watch. Look at this thing that gets going right here. And this is the line right here. These red shadings and almost gray shadings are 60 to 70 mile per hour winds along this line. And you notice how it's in 1 hour increments. So that's why it's like spaced out here. That's because it's in 1 hour increments. So this is where the line is at 1 hour. This is where the line is at the next hour. So just because you're in between these little spaces doesn't mean you're going to get winds. This does a great job of showing where the most intense part of this line of storms goes as far as the strongest winds. I mean, this is winds at 60 to 70 mile per hour, and it's going to come out of nowhere because this thing's going to be moving very, very quickly. So if you live in Mississippi, you live in Alabama, in the overnight hours tonight, you're going to get rocked with a line of storms that is going to just produce big-time winds. So we're going to get a little bit closer look at you guys from Mississippi and Alabama. Check out here, you got the storms that develop. You have to watch these for tornadoes here in northern Mississippi and northern Alabama. Then you get a line here, but you got this thing right here. Look how it's bowing out. This, so look, check out Jackson right here. Jackson, you guys, I mean, this is what, 07Z Saturday. So this is around, I don't know, just after midnight for you guys. So it's going to hit y'all. And I'll bring you this. Whatever the timeline is showing for you guys locally, so your local weather channels, I would say it's going to come an hour or two earlier. And that's just the way it happens. These things always move quicker than what modeling shows. Not always, but it seems like a lot of times they do. But look at Jackson get slammed. Tupelo, Birmingham starts to get to you, I would say, just before the sun comes up. And it starts to lose a little bit of steam, but check out how the directional goes down here. It goes down and just rocks the Gulf Coast. So a lot of you guys are going to get woken up, especially more in Alabama as it comes through a little bit later, from some nasty storms. And then it has a chance to redevelop a little bit further east as the main energy kind of goes through the Carolinas, more of a daytime heating of the day Saturday. But check it out here, storm development, even in the Midlands of South Carolina, even in South Carolina, could be some thunder boomers here a little bit later. Depending on how isolated these cells are, they could be big-time hail producers. Look here in Virginia. These little cells can be little mini supercells. They can produce big-time hail. They might even produce a quick spin-up. You can't get tornado threat completely out of this because it could happen. Now, when you lose the daytime heating, this could maybe turn into a relatively small area line of storms. It develops and moves all the way to the Atlantic Ocean and affects areas of the northern coastal plains of North Carolina. So, and just be a real stormy night tonight for you guys. But as we get going here, the other energy from the line of storms to our west comes through, has a chance to redevelop. So tomorrow's a whole different story. It's a whole nother threat, and we'll kind of watch how that develops. But it's definitely something we have to watch. So for here locally here, my guys, my folks here in South Carolina, you see these little blue dots that pop up for this afternoon and evening? These are showing storms that can develop and produce hail. So I'm just showing you this because if a storm develops and is strong, goes strong to severe, it has a chance, the main threat, to be damaging winds, but a big threat to be hail. I'm talking about, maybe quarter to $half size hail at worst case scenario. So very active day. Y'all stay safe. I'll keep y'all updated. Definitely follow me on my Twitter. I'm very active, kind of more on a broad scale on Twitter. Facebook, I mainly talk about South Carolina weather. But definitely give me a follow on Twitter. It's much appreciated. And thank y'all for the incredible support. Y'all stay safe today.